Time for another baby theater. Today, we're going to be learning about James and the Giant Peach. Yeah. So, there was a guy named James. He's pretty cool dude. Had a bald head, cue ball, they called him. I don't know why they call him that. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Anyway, his bald head was so shiny that he could track the sun from 1,000,000 miles away. Crazy. Just like, whoop, he could be inside, and the sun would beam in through the windows, hop on his head, and say, "Oh yeah, I'm the sun. Oh yeah, that's what I say, I'm the sun. Yes, yes, beams, beams." Then, James ate a peach. He said, "I'm going to plant this peach pit in the ground, see what happens." Well, lo and behold, James had somewhat of a green thumb, they call it. It wasn't like leprosy or anything like that, but it's close to rotting off. But anyway, that made it. The goop from his finger got in there. And it made the peach grow to enormous size, almost like as big as a house. And James is like, "What am I going to do with this giant peach, man? It's freaking crazy." So James started eating it. Eating it. And it was a giant peach after all. But he thought if you buried that peach pit, then he needed an even bigger peach out of it. So he just kept eating. He was pretty hungry, so he ate about half. But you see, his stomach couldn't hold it all. So he had some really bad issues later on with irritable bowel syndrome and everything. Then it started to rot pretty quickly, actually, just due to its size. And all these seagulls started coming in and eating it too. It was a bit of a mess. Now, one of the biggest things to remember is that James had very little knowledge around fruits. And it turns out that in this particular type of peach, there's a chemical called that actually made it so that if you did eat too much, you'd OD on it. Now, here's the thing. James was pretty sick at this point. He OD'd on peaches. And so he was like, first of all, I gotta get out of here, right? Gotta get to a doctor or something. Second of all, he had a friend named Peachstool that actually did have a doctorate. So James went over to to Peachstool and was like, "Oh my gosh, you're my only friend." And she really wasn't his only friend. She was trying to get some sympathy so that she wouldn't charge him very much. And he was like, "Please heal me. I have peachitis." And Peachstool was like, "Oh, well, that's not really my specialty. They really don't have anybody that's like a specialist in this around anywhere." Which is kind of weird, because it really wasn't. When you think about it, nobody's going to be a peach specialist, right? But he said, "Well, okay, can you just take a look at me? Can you go?" And she, "Well, I really can't, but I don't really have the qualifications to take care of you. But you have a PhD, right? You're a doctor. Help me out, right?" She says, "Well, okay, I guess I'll try it." So she's looking at his stomach and, pulling some strings and tugging around in there. And he's like, what are you doing to me? It hurts. And she's like, well, I don't have any anesthesia or anything. I really don't, I don't do anything like that. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really a specialist in this. And he's like, well, I don't understand. You're a doctor. What the hell? And so she says, okay, well, I'll try some more, Next thing you know, James is really sick. Really, really sick. And, he's coughing up, all kinds of stuff. Puzzle pieces. Yeah, that's what he ate most often. Dragon coins. Things like that. And... Oh, one more? Okay. No problem. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Oh, got a burp? Okay. Let's try that. So anyway, James is over there, peaching it up. And he's getting, his insides kind of like ripped up a little bit. And Peachstool was finally like, you know what? I can't even help you. What can I do to help you? I can't do anything. I don't know anything about this stuff. I don't know anything about peachitis or stomachs. And, James is unsure. James doesn't even know what's going on. He's like, wait, you don't know anything about stomachs? What does that mean? She's like, well, my doctorate's in arts. And it's just like art. And I'm an artist, a PhD in art. Doctor in arts. And he's like, what? Doctors are supposed to heal people, heal the sick for free. And she's like, well, I'm not that kind of doctor, so I don't know what I can do to help you out on that. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so James is kind of like stuck at this point. And he goes down to the local pawn shop. And he's like, I'd like to see your medical wares. And, the pawn owner's like, well, medical wares? What are you talking about? He's like, well, your cure-alls, your healer, sickness, medicines. And the pawn shop guy, his name's Tony. Tony's like, what? Dude, I don't carry any of that, man. Like, that's like more of a doctor's office you're looking for. He's like, no. James is like, no, that's really not what I just was that doctor, and they told me they couldn't help me at all. And he's like, oh, I told you couldn't. Well, I got a bunch of guns. You can get some of those. And James is like, ooh, you know what? I'll take you up on that offer. I'll take some of them guns, And so James, he was like, well, there is a 72-hour wait. It's like federal law. And James is like, well, how about I just take it right now? And the pawn shop dealer's like, well, you can for a little bit extra. And James is like, listen, I got this peach. You can have half of it. And we could bury the peach pit together. And he's like, half a peach? I don't know about that. No. It's giant. Trust me. It's huge. Huge. He said, okay, well, we'll do. Here's your gun. And he goes, well, what about bullets? And the guy's like, bullets? Nobody said anything about bullets. So now, James is stuck here with a gun and no bullets, Like, what is he going to do with that? And then, he goes, well, I don't know what that could be. Okay. Yeah, that's what you want. Okay, gotcha. So the bullets, nobody had, the pawn shop didn't have them. So he was like, man, okay, well, dang it, it's okay. So he went to the bullet shop. Oh, all right. Okay. How about this? I know you like to eat this way. Here we go. Okay. All right. I'm gonna eat this way. Okay, there we go. You like that? Okay. So then he goes down to the bullet store. In the bullet store, there's the shop owner there, and ironically, his name is Bullet, which is funny. Because, I mean, you would never expect that to happen. But Bullet's like, what you need? He's like, well, I got this gun, but I need some bullets for it. And he's like, well, I got 2 different options for you. I got super duper bullets, and then I got dirt bullets. And he's like, dirt bullets? What's that? Well, it's dirt I dug up from the ground. And you can shoot it out of there, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. So James is like, gosh, like, it seems like an easy option. How much are the super bullets? And he's like, well, basically, you have to spend your life on them. My life? What do you mean? Well, you have to do something for me. That's going to be your life goal, is to take care of my demand. And he's like, James is like, well, I mean, that seems like an easy enough feat. So Bullet gives him the bullets. And he's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go. Okay, so you're going to go and you're going to use these bullets to shoot at the range. And he says, okay. Shoot at the range. Okay. Then what? Well, then you're going to ask me. And then you're going to say to me. But then you're going to throw the gun into the range itself. He's like, well, what? That doesn't make sense because then I'll lose the gun. He's like, yeah. That's it. That doesn't make sense. But he agrees anyway. He gives him the bullets. And James is like, man, I don't understand what am I even going to do with these guns and bullets? He goes, oh yeah, I remember now. And so he goes back to the peach, and he's like, okay, so I need iron to make the peach grow. So he starts shooting into the peach. He wastes all his bullets, right? And he had no intention of going back to the guy, because, I mean, he's so sick, he's not going to be able to take care of himself. So he started digging a big hole, but so he could put the peach pit in there, the giant peach pit. Well, it took him a while, but he just kept digging, right? And, years passed, and that's all he did was dig. And the thing about it is sometimes you can get kind of obsessed over something. So obsessed that you kind of forget what you're doing. So James kind of just kept digging. And then he forgot that he even had a giant peach. He forgot even why he was doing any of this. So he just kept digging. And then he ended up finally reaching the bottom. And once he reached the bottom, then he realized the earth was flat. And it's nuts. I mean, you would think that he would reach magma first, But then he looked up and he realized that he never had a plan to get out. So now he's in this hole. And he's finally like, okay, this is the last dig. He dug it one more time and fell through. Then he was on the opposite end of the world. And, he was like, ah! Because he fell into space. It's pretty crazy.